right, Tulane and Oklahoma. Oklahoma 14-point home favorites, 50 the total in this game. So I warned you guys last week with Oklahoma, and we don't always get it right. Believe me, I had a Carolina in the NFL yesterday. That's proof. I don't always get it right. But when you look at Oklahoma, I said on the show last week, that offensive line really worries me because there were times against Temple, and I know they had the big, 51-7 or something. They won that game. Even in that game, they were giving up sacks. They couldn't run the football consistently, holding penalties. That was against Temple, okay, a couple weeks ago. And I said, I'm worried about that moving forward. And sure enough, they play Houston last week, and the offense was not good. Not good at all for Oklahoma in that game. Offensive line issues again in that game. 3 sacks given up. Tackles for loss in the backfield. How many tackles for loss did Houston have on Oklahoma? Hard to get the run game going as well in that one. Barnes, Javonte Barnes couldn't run the football. Jackson Arnold, 19 of 32, pedestrian numbers, 174 through the air, pass protection. He was under duress quite a bit from Houston in that game. That's now 2 games where I've seen enough from Oklahoma's offense where there's some concerns there. And like I said, even in that 51-point game, Temple is one of the absolute, they might be the worst team, believe it or not, in FBS college football this year, Temple. And even in that game, there were some concerns that the O-line was struggling. And then it finally came home to roost against Houston. I mean, they nearly lost that game, 16-12. They escaped by the skin of their teeth. Houston had 318 total yards. They outgained Oklahoma in that game significantly, 318-249. There's no freaking way I'm laying 14 with Oklahoma here. And in fact, Tulane, I was impressed with how they look. That defensive line for Tulane got after Avery Johnson, got after K-State, minimized DJ Gittins in the run game, and Oklahoma's got real offensive line concerns that I think Tulane might be able to make some hay with in this game. At 14 or better, give me the wave. I'm riding this wave with Tulane here in this game. This is another scary matchup for Oklahoma. This is not your average group of 5 team. This is a team that they got the holdovers from the Fritz era. John Sumrall's recruited, and he did really nice in the transfer portal. He got some nice Power 4 players through the transfer portal, and you can see it. And this Mensa kid, who everybody passed over at quarterback and didn't recruit him, and other teams ended up going with someone else, he is now finally getting an opportunity, and he's making the most of it. He's been really good here at quarterback for Tulane. I've been impressed with Darian Mensa here. He was in competition with Kai Horton, who's been here forever as a quarterback, an incumbent with tons of experience, and Ty Thompson, I think, is the other guy who is a USC transfer, if I'm not mistaken. And Mensa beat him out for the quarterback spot, which tells you how good he might be and how good he's played so far. So, yeah, at this number, it would be Tulane for me. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, same thing here. Tulane. I mean, there's a little bit of problems with Oklahoma. And one of the things I thought they do better, how is this defense, was Smith. 24-28, 260. And they had their share. They lost a fumble. He threw a pick in that game. It could have been even closer. And they got a late safety. It was 14-12 in that game. And that was all that was in that fourth quarter. I just wasn't impressed. Arnold was okay, 19-32. They didn't really run it. They had about 70 yards in that one against a Houston team that has problems, but I just saw UNLV soundly kind of just ground and pound their way and beat them. And what you mentioned, I saw Tulane. I thought both sides of the ball were pretty good. They might not go in there and win, but at 2 touchdowns, I think you got to take them here, especially with this showing this total here at 50.
Yeah, though I think look. By the way, I want to point this out as well. Tulane got screwed at the end of that Kansas State game. That was not offensive pass interference. What a bogus call that was. And look, I didn't have anything on that game. Well, I actually had Kansas State in a money line parlay because I thought they'd win. Was not convinced they'd cover, and sure enough, they didn't. So actually, it benefited me, and even I was livid because actually part of me wanted to see Tulane win that game and pull the upset. That was a joke that they called offensive pass interference on that what looked like a game-tying touchdown there at the end for Tulane. That was a terrible call. and they have nothing to now. Again, putting it all out there and falling short like that against Kansas State at home. You got to go on the road. I'm a little concerned about that, but I think the fact they go on the road, they're playing Oklahoma out of the SEC, gets these kids fired up all over again for the best performance they can put out there for Tulane in this game. So I still like them here in this spot.